Okay, good morning, everyone. Today we gather here for the live streaming on discussing uh, the programming evolution, the paradigm, how the paradigm changes, updates. As we all know, in early 80s or late 70s, the evolution of software development and occurs over there, and then we were using a program design that is called as structure oriented programming and popularly known as procedure oriented programming also. In this programming approach, the everything starts from the top to bottom. We will analyzing the procedures and try to divide into the various sub process, and that is why everything is structured, it's well defined, like where to declare the variables, where to write the process statements. Everything is in a sequence. After that, the end result was, the outcome was not up to the standards or up to the expectations, because the requirement of the software in the commercial applications grows, and we found that it lacks the data security, the updatations were not easy, and there are many more limitations occurs in that programming approach, and hence it updates to the object oriented, where we can wrap the data and the functions together. We'll define the prototypes of an object. We keep a view on the object, reusability, right? Code complexity, we try to reduce, easy updations, maintenance, and many more advantages we will be getting in that object oriented programming paradigm. And after that, now uh, we will be in the era where we are using a component oriented programming, where objects all have a physical shape. We don't need to create the classes. It's all predefined libraries we are having. We have to just import the libraries and use it and customize it as per the requirements. So with the team exam today, we try to uh, review these all the stuffs, how the evaluation of programming languages, or rather programming constructs, programming paradigms occurs from right from the SOP, POP to OOP, and then from OOP to component oriented programming over there. So my team will give the presentations about these all evolutions and actual demonstrations. All the queries related to this, all the program paradigms are welcome. You can chat in the comments. The fellows who are uh, attending these live sessions, they can directly interrupt and ask the queries. And in this manner, we will be achieving the objectives of today's sessions, how the program evaluations, because all software uh, developers might be needing these this kind of sessions, because most of the times why and how has to be very clear, right? So that while development, while writing the code, it will be it will be very, if you have a clear mind, then you can able to produce certain good things out of it. So this is what the agenda behind these sessions, the evaluation of programming paradigm. Over to Team Axiom. They'll give the presentations and the elaborations on these all the stuffs, and all queries related to this are welcome. I'm going to answer all these things in the meet. Right? Thank you. And like over to Team Axiom for the presentation.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Good morning, all. This is Nutan Sonmane from Axiom TechGuru Pvt Limited. So today's topic: evaluation of program design paradigm, SOP, OOP, and COP. This is structure-oriented programming, object-oriented programming, and component-oriented programming. Here. So with these two diagrams, we see here a difference between procedural oriented programming and object oriented programming. As we know, the procedure or structure oriented programming is nothing but algorithm based programming, which is an instruction, which is a top to down approach, and it executed and compiled instruction by instruction, or we can say step by step. That's why it called it as a procedure oriented programming. Here come with the object oriented programming with the different features, which is like evaluation of language with object classes, polymorphism, encapsulation, inheritance, and abstraction here. So if we see procedure or a structure oriented programming here, this is a particular procedure based code which is directly instruct a device on how to finish a task in a logical steps one by one, we can say. This paradigm uses a linear top down approach and treats data and procedures as a two different entities over here. Based on the concept of a procedure call, procedural programming divides the program into processes, which are also known as routines or functions here, simply containing a series of steps to be carried out and compiled or executed one by one, like a compiled work at once here. We can say features of procedural oriented programming. Predefined function over here is typically an instruction identified by a name. Local variable present here, which is a variable that is declared in the main structure or main section of a method and is limited to the local scope. It is given a specific scope, it is given over here. Now it also has a global variable, is a variable which is declared outside every other function defined in the specific code. Modularity is here, which is when two dissimilar systems have two different tasks at hand but are grouped together to conclude a larger task first. So we need to implement a modularity over here. Parameter passing is a mechanism used to pass parameters to a function, subroutines, or procedures. If we see advantage, procedure oriented is excellent for general purpose programmings. The coded simplicity along with the ease of implementation of compilers and interpreters. A large variety of books and online courses material available on tested algorithms, making it easier to learn along the way and to implement based on our application, how this particular programming embed or algorithmic based conclusion it provides. So it's easy to learn along the way. The source code is portable, therefore it can be used to target a different CPU as well. The code can be reused in different parts of the program without the need to copy it again and again. Through procedural programming technique, the memory requirement also slashes sometimes. The program flow can be tracked easily over here because it's a we can say a limited number of functionality provided by this particular specific programming language, so we can track easily the specific flow over here. It has a limitation because it's we can say it as a mother language or mother programming, which is a procedure based or structure based, but it has some limitation. The program code is harder to write when procedural programming is employed over here. Some application based applications are harder to write a particular procedure for to employed or when we deploy here. The procedural code is often not reusable, which may pose the need to recreate the code if it needed to use in another application. Difficult to relate with the real world objects. The importance is given to the operation rather than the data over here, which might pose issues in some data sensitive cases. The data is exposed to the whole program, making it not so much security friendly. So, if the security is in the we can say peak and the various application sharing applications, so we need a language which provide all of this, which is we can say limitations of procedural or structure oriented programming. So now we come with the object oriented programming, which gives such kind of features which makes it easy to understand and implement also, which is easy to deploy on our every application here based on it. So object oriented programming is an approach to programming which recognizes life as we know it as a collection of objects which work in tandem with each other to solve a particular problem at hand. The primary thing to know about object oriented programming is encapsulation, which is the idea that each object which holds the program is self sustainable, which means that all the components that make up the object are within the object itself. Now, since each module within this paradigm is self-sustainable, objects can be taken from one program and used to resolve another problem at hand with little or no alteration. Depends on our application development. It has a multiple advantage. Due to modularity and encapsulation, object-oriented programming offers ease of management. Object-oriented programming mimics the real world, making it easier to understand as well as implementation towards a developer. Since objects are whole within themselves, they are reusable in other program also. Object oriented programming provide a different level of security also. So it is we can say it easy to understand, easy to implement, easy to apply also. So it makes it vast and deep as well as imperative language over here. Now if we see a specific we can say difference between them. So procedural programming uses immutable data, whereas the object oriented programming uses mutable data. The procedural programming follows the declarative programming model, whereas the object oriented programming follows the imperative programming model over here. Procedural oriented programming extends support to parallel programming. Object oriented programming is not at all suitable for parallel programming over here. See, the execution order of statement is not the primary focus in procedural programming. The execution order of statement is very important, where if we see object oriented programming. Flow control is performed using functions call in procedural programming, where the flow control is performed through conditional statement and loops, which is available in object oriented programming here. Procedural programming uses recursion concept to iterate collective data, where object oriented programming use looping concept, the data where iteration is needed for collection of data. No such side effect of its function in procedural programming, where the method can have certain side effects in object oriented programming. See, procedural oriented programming focuses on what you are doing here, but object oriented programming focuses on how you are doing, how we can make application, or how we can program application based program we can design. If we see primary structure procedural oriented programming, it allows development. It allows various we can say construction of program using a set of objects and their interactions also. In structure oriented programming, which is divided into small programs function, where object oriented programming divide into the object and entities here. Structure oriented programming divide a program into set of functions, as well as it represents a sub program here, which is represented in or focuses on object. If we see object oriented programming, it focuses on a set of object and encapsulations over here. Structure programming main aim is to improve and increase quality, clarity, and development time of computer program, where object oriented programming aim is to improve and increase both quality as well as productivity of the system analysis and design. As we see, the structure oriented programming is a top down approach, and object-oriented programming have a bottom-up approach here. Object-oriented programming is less difficult to modify in object-oriented programs and you reuse code as compared to structure-oriented programming here. As we see, structure and procedural-oriented programming gives more importance to code, and as a object-oriented programming gives or focuses on object and its implementation. Structure-oriented programming provides less flexibility and abstraction as the compared to the object-oriented programming. If we see different, we can say features or differences between structure-oriented or procedural-oriented programming as a communication or as a security purpose. So in structure-oriented programming, the main method communicates with the function by calling those function in the main program. Whereas in object oriented programming, the objects communicate with each other by passing messages. Hence, this is an important difference between structure and object oriented programming. See, nowadays application, where the era when the structure or procedural oriented programming at its peaks or height, there are the requirement of such kind of communication where the only messages are passes rather than the, we can say, calling function and then the whole program execution. So that's why the object oriented programming evolved, and evaluation based on the communication and security and deployment of specific application are here. Now, if we see access specifiers, there are no such access specifier in structure-oriented programming, while there are access specifiers such as private, public, and protected in the object-oriented programming, which provides a different level of security to our code or to our whole application. Thus, this is also an important difference between structure and object-oriented programming. If we see security, besides, data is not secure in structure oriented programming, but it is secure in object oriented programming. Code reusability is a main feature of object oriented programming. It is difficult to reuse code in structure oriented programming, where it is easier to reuse code in object oriented programming here. If we see conclusion, procedural and structure oriented programming is a need to understand. It is mandatory to understand the complete programming, but for application, but for implementation towards developer or towards a world, it is we can say application uh, based. If we see programming, then surely we can go with the object oriented programming and its concept and its feature. And nowadays different languages which is come up with a different kind of we can say implementation, but based of all is object oriented programming. So structure and object oriented programming are two major programming paradigms. The main difference between structure and object oriented programming is that structure programming helps to develop a program using a set of modules or a function, while object oriented programming helps to construct a program using a set of objects and their interaction with a different kind of modules here. So my particular team explain you how we can implement a different kind of features over here. So I'm done with this particular explanation. Now over to you, Aditya, with a different kind of implementation.
Thank you, Nutan ma'am. So, good morning, all of you. As we know, we are seeing the evolution of SOP to OOP. So, hope my screen is visible. So, I will show how data security lacks in the SOP. Then we will shift to the OOP. Like first in the structure-oriented programming, where the function are used to operate on the data structure, there might be the lack of data security. If the data is not properly encapsulated or protected, it can be vulnerable to the unauthorized access or the modifications. There are no mechanism in place to control and access to certain data or functionalities. It could lead to the security vulnerable such as authentication and crucial data security. So if we place declare our variable in like globally, so I have here I have declared variable here globally. So it is global, it can be another it can be visible to all, so it can be modified or have unauthorized access. So it like here data security lacks. So if I place this into the so if I place this into the function, so it will be not accessible in the outside scope. So if I like this is where the data security lacks, or we cannot access the if if the variable is inside the scope, so we cannot access outside. And if we place this globally, so it can be modified or have unauthorized access. So after that after then the classes came after that the evolution of OOP came into existence. So then the class is here, then the class is introduced. So what is class? Class is a user defined data type that serves as a blueprint for creating objects. It is defined as the structure and behavior of the object that it will initiate based on it. So class allows encapsulation, which means bundling data and methods that operate on it. So this is like class bundles the data. Class bundles our data. We can operate on it. So data is class bundles the data into single unit. So we can it wraps the data. So it this is where the data security came into existence. Like in object oriented programming we have access modifiers like private, public and protected. So what the private access modifier do, like it if the variables are private, it cannot be accessed outside the class. uh, it like public is for globally, so we can access outside and inside the class. And protected is for the parent to child, we can access the data from parent class to child class. So classes contribute to maintainability of by code maintainability of code by providing a modular and organized when chances to update are needed. Developer can focus on the specific classes without affecting the entire code base. So developer can easily have access to the data members like without going through entire the code with the help of classes. The entire this make it easier to understand and extend the modifications to the software over time. So classes in object-oriented programming serves as a fundamental building blocks for creating, organizing modular and reusable code. Classes support principles like encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, which can contribute to the development of flexible and extensible and maintainability of a software system. So then after that like I have here uh, declare private data members, and I have here member functions. So to access them we have scope resolution operator. So what scope resolution operator do, resolution operator can uh, use to define the data members of a function outside the class definition. So it can used to define the member functions outside of the class definition. So we have here private data members and public member functions. So to assess them outside the class, we have used here scope resolution operator. So I have used to assign the data. I have used here member function like get data to assign the data to the A and B. Send so then after the I have shown the data, like I have after that I have the member perform arithmetic operation, like we have arithmetic operations here. Then in the main class I have declared two variables and I am taking input from the user. Then I have created the object. So what is object? Object is an instance of class. It can have access to the member defined in their corresponding class, and they can interact with class data and behavior. So the object is an instance of class, so it can have access to the data of a class. So like I have here, I am getting the data of a class. I have assigned here like A and B. Like I have I am assigning to the A and B. After that I am showing data. Then I am calling it implicitly. So object initialize and method invocation. Object is initialized by the get data. So I'm initializing the like data here. After that I am showing the data, and after that I am printing all the operations here. So like I am running the code. So like here, so just a minute. So I'm the user input. This is the user input. We can get the user input. After that, like here, I'm showing the data and performing all the arithmetic operations with the help of class. So this is a demo code of encapsulation. So what is encapsulation? The code demonstrates the principle of encapsulation, where the data are the private members and methods are the member functions that operates on the data are encapsulated within the class. So it is encapsulated within the class. The encapsulation helps in organizing and controlling access to the data and behavior. The code follows the principle of object-oriented programming, like encapsulation, abstraction, and the use of classes and object in model to the real-world entities. So that's all from my side. Over to you, Sai. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya. Good morning, everyone. It's Sahil from Axiom TechGuru. Let me share my screen first. Hope my screen is visible to you all. So today we will just discussion on the evolution of program paradigm on SOP to OOP. So this is a topic, constructor and destructor. So we'll discuss about why, what, and how the constructor and destructor is exist here, and how can we use it here. So first, we'll just go for the why. Why the constructor and destructor? So to prevent memory leaks by ensuring that the object's data members are properly initialized. This is the first thing. And then it makes code more reusable and more readable, and constructors make code more readable by providing a way to initialize objects in a way that is consistent with the rest of code. And in that we have like major three major things of constructor. The type of constructor, like default constructor, parameterized constructor, and copy constructor. So just we will go next part, the why and the drawback which is exist in SOP and which is overcome in object oriented programming. So the first is like we're talking about the initialization and the cleanup of data memory space. So there is no proper way to initialize and clean up the data structured. It has not been done by and not automatically, but it has to be done by manually. And beginning of the function when we using the SOP, so that time that drawback is there. So it overcomes like in the object oriented programming. It provides way to initialize the object is created, ensures that the short in a valid state, and destructor is automatically called when an object goes out of the scope. Means the constructor is work as a is allocating the memory space of that particular data, as well as the destructor works as a destroying the data of that memory space of that data. And then second point is for in the SOP is to proper resources and management. Means here's the thing is memory allocation and the deallocation is of the programmer. Error may occurs when the code, if code is not properly managed or properly handled. So that the thing which is drawback in SOP. And the third is like code reusability, as initialization and the cleanup logic may be tightly coupled with specific functions. So we have to write functions with the specific for the initialization to allocations of some statement and operations, and we have to write the operations for deallocating as well. So in the OOP, it overcomes like it promotes the creation of reusable classes with this well-defined constructors and destructors, and it allowing for more modular and the reusable code. So by using class of object, we can reuse it also. And then we'll just go further. What is constructor and destructor? So constructor and destructor are the important concept in OOPS programming, like object oriented programming. In the particularly it is in the like in this CPP, we are just working on that technology, and they are special modulars and module functions, method functions used to initialize and the clean up the object respectively. The constructors have the same name as the class name belongs to. Means we can see here we have the two programs here, like one is in the SOP constructor and destructor here, and the second one is the OOP concept in the constructor and destructor. So here I created the class as a name of arith, and in between I also created the constructors with the same name of the class. Like look here, arith, arith, and arith. And these are the three types of constructor, like default, parameterized, and copy constructor. Okay. And in constructor there is no return type, and constructors do not have a return type, not even void also. We can see here just we have write here the name of the constructor and the parenthesis and the operation which we have to perform. And if we don't provide any constructor, the compiler, by default compiler, it access the default constructor with no parameters. So you can see here there's a first constructor which is default constructor with no parameters. The second one is the parameters constructor. Here we can pass the arguments as a parameters. Third one is the copy constructor. It refers of an object of already existent object of class. Okay. And also destructor, here I have written here the destructor defined. So destructor do not have any take any parameters. It can't be pass any parameters, and it also had not the return type. And a class can have only one destructor. It is automatically called when the object is destroyed. When uh, the major properties of the constructor is when we create the object of a class, that time only the constructor will be executed automatically. Similarly, when the object is goes out of the scope and constructor is executed, after that the end of the program, destructor is also automatically called and it destroys the memory space of constructor which is executed or which is allocated to constructor. So this is we the what is and how can we use it. So just we will go here and look. So first I will just explain the SOP. Yeah, so you can see here in that what we have to, there's an approach of writing the code and code of structure, we can say that. So here we have to just first initialize the variables. So here I created the function of initialize and passing the parameters of a and b with the values of 15 and 20. And after that I have to write the multiple functions for this individual operations like addition for the add, subtraction for the sub, multiplication and the division for the divide and mult. Similarly, and the individual functions have their own operation on statement, like it is the out c out, and the addition becomes a plus b, which will be parameterized argument will be passed here, so that statement will be executed. But these are the functions. Main operation will be executed from the main function. Here the approach of SOP is start from top to bot- bottom, and it will goes the main function first. Here we have to declare the variables with the data type of int integer, and after that I have initialized the variable with and function, and here calling the function of initialize and with the parameters of variable a and b which is declared here. And after that we are just calling the functions like add, sub, multiplication and divide with the parameters ab which is declared here. So as per when the addition function will be called, that time it will goes the definition of add, and this parameters will be executed, that operation will be performed and executed. So this is the we can say that this is the lengthy and it will to rewrite, and it is not wrapped with this particular any particular function or class. So here's this lack of security also, and it is taking the value from main function to here. So there's a process is lengthy, and it can be reusable. First we have to write multiple times, like we have to write the functions multiple times, and that passing the parameters multiple times. So these drawbacks overcomes in the oops concept. So we'll say here the similar project program is here by using oops concept. So here we have to just create the first class of array. So it is for wrapping the data, means it's securing the data, and it prevent the memory leaks by ensuring that that data will be not leak out of the scope of class. So and after that we have used the access modifiers. The my colleague Aditya also already demonstrate that and explain that thing. So we declaring the variables in the private access modifiers, and after that in the public access modifier we are declaring and defining the constructors. So first is the default constructor. In that we have assigned the values to the a and b as a 10 and 15. Similarly we have also parameters constructor, where we are passing the parameters and arguments x and y, which is assigned to a and b. means the value of a and b, which will be argument will be passed as x and y to the function of a constructor. And then the third is here copy constructor. So we'll just go for the some theoretical part of copy constructor. So is a type of constructor used to create copy and of an already existing object of a class type. Means we can see that there's a copy constructor of arith, which is referring the arith already existing constructor. And uh, and the compiler provides a default copy constructor to all the classes, and copy constructor comes into the picture whenever there is a need for an object with the values for the data members, and which is already existing uh, constructor. And copy constructor is invoked when an existing object is passed as a parameter. Means we are passing the existing constructor as a parameter with the help of copy constructor. So the in that also here the some operations here, and we are assigning the values of a and b with the reference of e, which is the object of existent constructor. And after that we have the destructor. So how can we declare the constructor? So declaration of constructor destructor is similar as the name of class, but in the prefix we have to write the tilde sign, just written here the sign. So means whenever in the destructor we write here the tilde sign is means the destructor with the same name of class and constructor, and there is no any parameters, only write this syntax here. After that, in that we are passing the operations, and uh, s- write here some object destroyed. Means this statement, when the destructor is called execute, that time only this operation will be performed, like object is destroyed. So after that, here we have created the function, similarly add, sub, mult, and division. And in that we are not return any statement, just passing returning the values of and the operations of a plus b for the addition function, a minus b for the subtraction, a into b for the multiplication, and for the division we are returning the a divided by b with the data type of double. So this is all the things, and all the constructor will be wrapped by the class. Means the data is secure here. And after we will go for the main function. So we know the approach of OOPS concept is the bottom to top. So it will comes here the main function, and here you can see here I have created two objects of constructor of a class. First is the 80, and here I use the parameters to passing the arguments here. Parameter is constructor. So here I am implementing two values here from 15 to 20 from using 80 object of arith class. And also second one is the pq. So here I am passing the parameters as the existing object of a class. Look here, 80. So it is already created here. So these all two objects will be created, that time only the constructor will be executed. And for that we have written some operations here for arithmetic with 80 object. Means using the object of 80, that operation will be performed, means the addition. And 80 dot add function means with the object of a class we have to call any function, so we have to write this type of syntax here. So 80 dot add function will be execute, will perform. Similarly for the subtraction, multiplication, division, 80 dot sub, 80 dot mult, and 80 dot division, that operation will be executed when the object is created. So that time only that operations will be performed. And similarly for the pq also, by using copy constructor we have created that object of pq, and passing the 80 object here as a parameter. So pq.add function. Similarly, that operations will be executed, but how it will work or not. So we will just go for here and run the program. So you can see here the program of by using oops concept is executed. So here operations of arithmetic with AT object is executed with the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division with the values and the answers of it. Similarly, the operations of arithmetic with PQ object means the second object of a class also executed. And from the bottom here, the statements like object destroyed twice means we can see here we have created two objects for classes by using parameters constructor and copy constructor. So both the object of memory allocation will be destroyed by the destructor twice. Means the two object is created and two times that object is destroyed. So this is the execution of oops concept by constructor and destructor. So similarly, we will go for the execution of SOP in constructor destructor. So here you can see here only the one time the execution will be executed and operated for the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So for that we already said that it lacks of reusability and lengthy code here, because in that we have to manually initialize the values also for the performing operations, and similarly there is no way to destroying the memory space of an any operations here, so we have to manually write. So that drawback will be overcome in the OP. So this is the simple demonstration by me, and by here we have the conclusion of constructor and destructor is like constructor are an essential part of a class definition, and should be designed and built with care, as the function defines now new class object are to be instantiated, and they allow us to create different instances of classes. So from my side, this is all thing, and thank you, and over to you, Shubham. Just please take care of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sahil. Good afternoon, everyone. Hey guys, today go- we will I will explain about the concept of the inheritance in the object-oriented programming. What is inheritance? Why inheritance? And types of inheritance. All this. So basically, what is inheritance? So inheritance is a process in which one object can acquire the properties, data, and behavior function of its parent object automatically. And why we use this inheritance? So because in a structure oriented programming, there is no scope for the reusability of the code, so we have to write this code that again and again, so it increase the line of code and it makes the code lengthy and complicated. So to overcome this problem, object oriented programming introduced the concept of the inheritance. So in and this inheritance it strongly support the reusability of the existing code, so it helps to make that code easy, short, and easy to understand also. So there are five types of inheritance, that is the single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and the hybrid inheritance. So now I will demonstrate you the single inheritance, the example. Yeah. So here you can see You can see here is the example of that example code of the single inheritance, in which we have just done the basic things at the predefined library and the standard library. So and here we have created the parent class, which we can call it as a base class also. So here we create the class and name it as a father, and in it we use the access specifier. There are the three types of access specifier in inheritance, that is public, private, and protected. So we use here protected specifier, because if we don't use the protected or public, so it will take it as a private, so it will not be accessible from out of this class. So here we use the protected access specifier, and then we use the string data type, and name it as a surname, and here we put the data surname data, that is a kasar. And below there, we created the child class, which we can call it as a derived class, and in it we name it as a son, and by using the colon, we inherited that parent class. And here we use the public specifier, access specifier, and use a string and name it as a name, and put the data name data, that is Hemanshu. And below this, there we create the function, and in it we are printing the name and the surname, which and this surname which belongs to that parent class. And below here we create the main function, and then we create the object of that child class, and call this function. So we will see the output of this single inheritance. So as we can see, here is the output that Himanshu Kasar, Himanshu, the data we use in the child class, and the Kasar, this data we put in we use in a parent class. So this is the example of the single inheritance. Like this, there is another example of the hierarchical inheritance. What is the difference in single and hierarchical inheritance? That there is only one base class or a parent class, and there are two child class. So here we can see that here is the one base class, that is a father, and we as per same as a single inheritance, we use the protected access specifier, and then we name as a father name as a Sharma. And the difference is there is a two child class we have created, that is a son 1 and son 2. So that father has a two son, and that two son has their different name, that is the son 1 has a name Ajit, and the son 2 has a his name as Akhil. And we created the um, function in which we are printing the name of the son 1 and surname. And also in son 2 we have created the function in which we are printing the name of the son 2 and the surname. And there is another difference in main function, from which we will call the function of that child classes. We have to create the two object for that two child classes, and we have to call both the function from that both the classes, child classes. So here we have created the sun1's here we have created the object of the that sun1 and call that function, and in here we created the object of the sun2, and uh, and we call that function so we will see the output here. Yeah, as we can see in this output, the sun1 has a name as Ajit, and sun2 has a name as a Akhil, and their son name, there's a Ajit Sharma and the Akhil Sharma. As per this process, we can use it the hierarchical inheritance. And here is another example of the multiple inheritance. So, what is the difference in the hierarchical inheritance and the multiple inheritance? That in hierarchical inheritance, there are a single parent class and two child class, but in multiple inheritance there are two parent class, that is we can see here the base class 1, base class 2, and a single child class. So and in it we can see in base class 1 that parent class 1 there is a surname, and we put a data of surname as a Pohane, and second parent class is a father, and we use a father name as Himanshu, and in there is a child class, and we can also say the derived class, and there is a son, and we by using the colon we inherited the parent class 1 and parent class 2, that is a father and surname, both class we inherited, and we use here by using a string we use son name as a Sahil, and we created the function, a show function, and in which we are printing the name of the son, name of the father, and name of the name of the surname, and below there we created the main function from which we will create the object of that child class, and we will call the function of that child class. Here we will now see the output of this inheritance. Yeah. Yes, yeah, we can see here the name of that child class as Sahil, which we use in child class, and name of the father Himanshu in second base class, and the Pohane, the surname Pohane, we used in base class 1. So as per this, we can use the inheritance to reduce the line of a code and increase the reusability of the existing code. So our code will be short and will not be complicated. It will be easy to use, and by this we can by this we can use the inheritance in this way. So this all from the my side. Now the next feature will explain by my colleague, the Himanshu Kasat. Over to you, Himanshu.
Thank you, Shubham. So today I will explain that what is polymorphism and why we use polymorphism and how to use that. Share the screen. So as we know, polymorphism is a key concept in object-oriented programming that allows object to be treated as instance of their base class rather than their actual class. It includes both compile time and runtime polymorphism. This compile time happens when the overloading exists, and the runtime is executed when the overriding is uh, achieved. So we will see with the help of example. So first we'll see why we use polymorphism. So why there is a feature of polymorphism exists in OOP. As we know, polymorphism is a feature of OOP. When the OOP was developed, it has some feature with that such like object and class and encapsulation and polymorphism and such like abstraction and many more. So there is some limitation in SOP that we cannot define same name function in SOP, but in OOP we can define same name function and execute it. The concept name as overloading and compile time polymorphism is achieved in this polymorphism. So now I'll explain. So basically, this is a compile time structure. Compile time polymorphism is achieved through function overloading. When we define multiple function with the same name but different parameter lists, they, the function overloading is achieved. In this function, we can see the show info name function is present, but it has different parameters present. It is overloaded. To handle both integer and the string data type, the appropriate version of function will be called based on the argument types during compile time. As I run this, I have called the object. I have passed the parameters like string and the integer type. So as we can see here, the appropriate function is called with the help of this string and that integer type. As we can see here, this is the second function with the same name. In the age and the name is executed. Your name is Arjun, and this it's and his age. Coming to the overriding, it is a runtime method which comes under polymorphism. This occurs when a child class provides a specific implementation of a method that is already defined in the parent class. As we can see, there is same name function present here and in the derived class. So to achieve this, there is a basic structure that we have to define this as a virtual function in the parent class, and in the derived class we have to write override. If we don't use this also these keywords, the overriding will be achieved properly. So this is the basic structure. I run this. So in this example, the display function is so in this example, the display function is declared as a virtual in the base class, and when we derive the class B, this function, the overridden version is called at the runtime. This allows you to treat object of the derived class as object of the base class, and the correct method is called as dynamically based on the actual type of the object. As I have created the object of the class B and call that particular object, the particular function is being executed. As you can see, it is a class B shown here. So these are the two types of the types in the polymorphism, and the polymorphism is a real-time example of polymorphism is a person who at the same time can have different characteristics. A man at the same time is a father, a husband, and a employee. This defines the basic example. And while OP has many advantages, it is essential to note that the choice between SOP and OP often depend on the nature of the problem and specific requirement of that project. So that's all from my side. Hope my team and me we derived the evaluation of SOP to OP well. That's all from my side, sir.
Hey, this is really nice, Himanshu. Thanks, Nutun, Aditya, Shubham, like, and everyone who participate in this live stream to elaborate SOP, like the program designed evolutions from SOP, POP, OOP. I just want to add more things about the component oriented. Component oriented means it's an extended version of OOP. OOP till we are using, but they now try to give a physical shape to it. Means that the objects, which is in the form of only library, they now uh, provided as a component, got a physical shape. You can able to view that, and that we can able to initialize the properties, and uh, once you drag that component, instance can be created, and then you can refer the methods developed. At the same time, predefined libraries are available. You can extend that library. The abstract classes are given. You can extend it to create your own version of classes. This is what exactly the component oriented programming means. Hope you guys enjoyed these sessions related to the evaluations of the programming architecture or programming paradigms. For these kind of sessions, just like do comment this, do ask us to provide some more insights on these particular topics, so that like together we can explore more, and we get the expertise in all these stuffs, and then we enjoy the technical solutions provided to the industry over there. Thank you very much, guys. Hope you all the queries related to the evaluation of programming architecture or programming paradigm is over. If you have any, do comment this. We'll be get back to you. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.